A brutal blast of winter moving east, and it will touch just about everybody on the eastern half of the United States with brutally cold weather. Hi, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Justice. Please let me know where in the world you're watching from right now. We'll get this conversation going in this video. I'm going to let you know who's going to see snow, just how cold it will get, and how low we go. Because, folks, the new models that are in are showing some dangerously cold air, and Sunday is about to be brutal just about anywhere you go. Let's show you the new details as I'm seeing them iron out right now. It's already chilly, but this is just a precursor, an appetizer, if you will. I'll pause it right here as that cold air begins entering the Midwest. This is the apparent temperature. I'm going to flip it over to the real temperature. We'll show that first. It's brutal in and of itself, but when you add in the fact that it's going to be windy during all this, we're going to get some snow. It's going to be a little bit, but we're also going to get the brutal wind that's going to blow around that snow, making conditions just really terrible in some areas of the Midwest for North Carolina mountains, for East Tennessee mountains northbound. Now for South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, very, very cold air. Let's map out how cold. Well, when you go to bed on Saturday, things aren't too bad across the South. From North Carolina, South Carolina to Georgia. In fact, I think our high temperature on Sunday will be found at midnight because temperatures will get colder as we go into Sunday. Here's the first thing in the morning, 7 a.m., 30 in Asheville, 46 in Greenville. Look at this. Here's 3 hours later. We're 3 or 4 degrees colder. It may be that you go into church Sunday morning and it's chilly, it's cold, but look what happens when you get out. Here's 11 a.m., 42 in Greenville, 27 in Asheville. By the time you get out at noon, well, depending on how long your church service is, right? So we're going to see the colder air come on in to where it's about 4 or 5 degrees colder when you get out of church, right? And these are the air temperatures, 23 now in Asheville, 39 in Greenville. For the Midwest, we're talking 7, 8, 9. It gets colder. Here we are at 4 p.m., 19 in Asheville, 34 in Greenville, 12 in Asheville, now 11. Now we're getting into the overnight hours where temperatures fall to the single digits across western North Carolina northbound. Now let's re-rack that and look at the apparent temperature because the winds are going to be brutal on Sunday. That's what's going to be ushering in the cold air. So let's look at how cold it gets here. Here's what it'll actually feel like. Well, by the time you wake up on Sunday morning, again, we've already reached our high for the day at about midnight. Look at this, minus 16, minus 17, minus 18, all of Illinois, all of Indiana, and most of Ohio, sub-zero for wind chills. Middle Tennessee, Nashville is just bone-chilling cold, 4, 5, 6 degrees for a feels-like temperature. And as we go throughout the day, Knoxville, East Tennessee, Pigeon Forge, just brutally cold on Sunday. Now this feels like temperature by 4 p.m. in western North Carolina. It's going sub-zero, minus 5 in Boone. You're more like minus 10 at Beech Mountain. You're at 4 in Asheville. Now as we go deeper into the day, it's 12 now for a feels like temperature at 7 p.m. in Greenville, South Carolina. Clemson, it's 4 in North Georgia, minus 4 in Asheville, minus 12 in Boone, and it doesn't stop there, folks. As we go into the evening hours, the wind settles down, but the air temperature cools down. So it looks like the peak of the worst of the feels-like temperature with the wind just blowing in the cold air is between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. on Sunday. Now let's map out when and where we might see a little bit of snow flying around with this. Well, it's Clipper-type system, so actually right now into tomorrow morning, we're going to see some snow depending on where you're waking up. This would be in Kentucky, most of Indiana, Ohio, a little swath right in here, getting a quick couple of inches. Now, these are quick-moving Clipper systems, so they're moisture-starved. But that said, as the main event comes in, the colder air, we get another little swath that comes through. This actually gets a little bit further north, not so much Kentucky this time. You get a little bit, but it's more Ohio, it's more Indiana, it's more Pennsylvania. So you'll get some snow to roll on through. West Virginia gets another hit. That's as the cold air scoots in. So how much snow are we talking about? Well, let's look at the high-resolution models because they're in their wheelhouse right now. You know, we're not talking about a ton of snow, but a quick dusting to a half an inch in the western North Carolina mountains. As you go into Kentucky, we're talking 1 to 3, maybe 4 inches of snow. A good bit of Illinois into Indiana and Ohio, closer to 2 to 4 inches. Western Pennsylvania, upstate New York. This is going to be a pretty good little snow for you, especially when the Great Lakes start to kick into gear. We'll get that to happen as we go into the weekend as that colder air comes through. So what are we looking at beyond this? Well, there's some signs that this big pronounced dip in the jet stream is going to be the last we see for a while. In fact, I don't see much cold weather. We get cooler, certainly have a chilly day here or there, but I don't see us getting brutally cold again the rest of the month. In fact, we may, turn warmer than normal for a lot of places. Now, that said, there are dips in the jet stream like you see right here, 22nd. But overall, through Christmas, we may in fact turn up the heat. This GFS model is going a little rogue here, saying we're going to get not only a lot of ridging, but possibly even some really warm weather on the East Coast. Now, how much of that's true on the European? Let's look at that a little bit closer in. It's got a couple of dips. Here's that 19th, 20th. So yeah, we certainly get cold among a very warm pattern. So don't get me wrong, there will be cold blasts within 2 days, warm again. That's what I see happening here Christmas-ish. Look at that, 23rd, 24th, 25th. Whoa. Models are showing warm weather. I mean, underneath that ridge would be temperatures that are 50s. Now, it's still cold up here in the Northeast, but, I mean, that's pretty pronounced. So we'll see how long that lasts. As you look at the details in the new 8 to 14-day outlook, it's got most of the country, not just one half or the other, most of the country above normal. But I do want to show you a clue. Look down here at Alaska. Don't discount looking at Alaska, right? We love you, Alaska. But below normal temperatures there. So you got to think about geography, Alaska. What goes up must come down. What's down is going to move east. And there are some signs of that. Now, it's never an exact science when you look at this, but the NAO, the North Atlantic Oscillation, is turning positive. Now, when you turn positive, which it'll do over the next 3 or 4 days, you don't immediately get warm. But what that means is the blocking pattern is done, so the jet stream is a little more free to kind of lift back to the north, all right? Now, it does get really, just drops off the planet right here, going toward the end of the period. This would be around January 1st. Now, again, just like the warmth, you don't get cold immediately after this turns negative, but what this means is there will be a better chance of troughing or blocking. And if that were to occur, we typically get more active, colder patterns coming into the eastern half of the United States. Not always, but most of the time, especially when it turns that negative. Now, think about how cold we are right now, and we're just near zero. Look at it just falling off the planet, going toward that first week of January. So does that mean we get cold immediately going into January? Probably not, but that's probably when we're looking toward January 10th, 11th, 12th, somewhere in there. That would be the time frame that I would think that we would begin to see more active wintry weather. Now, can I tell you that exactly? No. Will the keyboard warriors out there, both the meteorologists and the people that just look for a post once in a while and don't follow back up, yeah, they're going to flare up at something like that. But I'm telling you that in 20 years of broadcasting, I'm always going to be honest with you. I'm going to be transparent, not for clicks or likes, not for you to follow my page, but because it's what we do. I'm a meteorologist. You are watching me right now, whether you're watching on TV or online here, you're watching me to get a weather forecast more than your telephone can provide you, right? So when you log onto your phone and you see what's going on, you want to know more than just what that app's going to tell you. So as a trained meteorologist, an AMS certified meteorologist, a meteorologist that has gone to school and gotten a degree in meteorology and passed the AMS seal to get my test here, I'm telling you that it is a responsible way to forecast. And in this day and age where you're seeing these kind of activities elsewhere, it is my duty to give you that information in a responsible way, not in a way that causes you to share one model and go on out. So, if you catch one model, if you ever feel like, hey, this looks like we're going to get a lot of snow, does it mean it? Read the caption, and if you still don't feel like you got an answer, look before or after my timeline. I post probably 20, 30 times a day sometimes, especially when the weather is active. I'm kind of just cranking out some information, and my goal is always to give you some context. There have been times where I have not done as great as I should at that, and that's on me, but I will tell you that if you ever watch my videos or if you've been following me for any length and period of time, you know my heart, you know that I am transparent with you in forecasting, and I'm always going to level with you. When it's time to be concerned, I will let you know, but I'm going to dive deep in the models. That's what I do as a meteorologist. So, hey, thank you for welcoming to my TED Talk today, and I hope you guys have a blessed day. Please, in the comment section, let me know where you're watching from right now. That's always fun. I love to see where so many of you are watching from right now. Like this video, and do subscribe to this channel if you like that level of forecasting. If it's not for you, no problem. That's okay. It's not for everybody, but I do believe if you're following a weather page, you want to know about the weather. You don't want to be misinformed. Certainly not. But you do want to know, hey, the GFS model is showing some things in days 8, 9, and 10. Is it going to happen? No, I'm smart enough as a person to know that it's probably, it probably could happen. It probably could not happen, okay? But you got to keep checking back in, right? So do that. All right, guys, and thank you for watching right now. Hope you have a wonderful day. We'll continue to watch this brutal cold blast coming in. Prepare for some really, really cold wind chills, the coldest air we've had so far this season, of which we've been mapping out since last weekend. Yes, that was 8-9 days out that we were talking about it, and yes, it was perfectly okay to do that. That's what we do as meteorologists. Okay, have a good day, everybody.